Why are Australia's Indigenous people among the most unknown humans in history? The Indigenous culture is one of the most challenging and intricate cultures in the world. No other group of humans has led as a mysterious and enigmatic a life as the Indigenous people. These individuals who settled in the Australian lands 50,000 years ago have brought everything they have experienced from then until today to life through music and encoded stories. How have these Indigenous people truly been? We want to embark on an exciting and mysterious journey, a journey that is meant to surprise you thoroughly. When the renowned explorer James Cook set foot in Australia in 1770 and encountered the Indigenous people, he described them in his writings as primitive tribes without homes, scattered and living a nomadic life. However, the reality was quite different. The English, believing the natives to be savages, took them into captivity when they first arrived in Australia and subjected them to generations of oppression. When the English and the rest of the world came to understand the Indigenous people better, they were greatly shocked. The thrilling part of the story begins right here. The Indigenous people do not practice agriculture. They only gather plants as needed and sustain their lives through hunting. The reason behind their lifestyle is that they consider themselves a part of nature. Therefore, they believe that humans are guests in this world, and departing from it marks the beginning of their eternal life. According to the Indigenous people, we as humans must take great care of this world because we are guests in it. Hence, they were very cautious not to harm the local ecosystem. Interestingly, all these details are encoded in their thousand-year-old songs. Words that may seem meaningless at first glance could carry profound meanings, like referring to a specific valley or a small hill containing a wealth of information. The Indigenous people do not wear clothing, and aside from spears, axes, and boomerangs for hunting, they do not possess any other tool. Their homes are constructed from plant shrubs. Now let's delve into something fascinating. Indigenous people do not communicate through speech, but also encode their connections through colors, patterns, body painting, and lifestyle designs. Even telepathy serves as another method of communication for them. Telepathy refers to a form of communication that occurs without the involvement of five senses and is solely facilitated through the mind. While this concept might seem peculiar, it is said to have been substantiated through various experiments. The primary reason behind the widespread use of telepathy among Indigenous people is their development of various communication techniques beyond verbal language. Additionally, it is emphasized that Indigenous people never lie. In the native language, there is no equivalent word for lie. Marlo Morgan, in her book Mutant Message, based on true stories of Indigenous people, provides examples of how they use telepathy. For instance, during hunting, many Indigenous people strategically position themselves at different points and then in an intriguing manner collectively focus on a specific animal as the target, coordinating this effort solely through telepathy from a distance. Another example involves Indigenous people communicating with crocodiles through telepathy to navigate through crocodile-infested rivers. They establish communication with the crocodiles, prompting them to clear the way for the Indigenous people to pass safely. Indigenous people are the only population in the world capable of communicating through telepathy. Indigenous people have no attachment to the material world. They do not lie. They consider themselves an integral part of nature, and due to the absence of other communication methods, have developed and internalized telepathy over thousands of years. Thanks to these characteristics, they were truly capable of accomplishing this. However, the secrets and codes do not end here. Indigenous people are a population that has been living barefoot in jungles and deserts for generations. They have mastered various techniques for interpreting physical state of other humans due to their life in the heart of nature. For example, by observing footprints, they can easily determine the age, gender, and health status of a person. For them, water is most valuable resource in nature, and living in deserts forces them to cope without water during the day. As mentioned earlier, Indigenous people transform information from one generation to another through encoded songs, dances, and corresponding locations. Today, these fascinating pieces of information, including natural events and the history of continuous sequences, have passed down unchanged and uninterrupted to the current generation for over 20,000 years. Scientific studies have confirmed the accuracy and validity of this information. The image you see is of a volcanic crater formed 4,700 years ago due to the fall of a meteorite. The oral literature of indigenous people is so rich and ancient that even the event of this meteorite fall can be found in their stories. Indigenous men still avoid going to the site of this crater because they believe that if humans violate sacred laws, a fiery demon with a sound that deafens humans descends from the sun to the earth and harms many people. These events have occurred in various stories within the indigenous culture. They believe in a sacred era, the dream time, during which mythical beings created our world and imparted knowledge to humans. These mythical beings were a combination of humans and animals. In many places considered sacred by indigenous people, ancient paintings depicting these mythical beings can still be seen. Indigenous people believe in an afterlife. Tribes communicate with mythical beings through ceremonies like korobor, which involves dance, singing, and playing specific music. Each tribe has its own unique music, dance, and performances during korobor, and these ceremonies are considered sacred. Therefore, strangers are not allowed to participate or witness these ceremonies. Performances related to the dream time are showcased during these ceremonies. The cosmos and celestial bodies are also sacred to indigenous people, each holding a different meaning. It is said that some beings mentioned in indigenous myths descended from the sky to the earth. While we do not precisely know what indigenous people experienced during their 50,000-year isolation from the rest of the world, it is evident that they witnessed and experienced intriguing things that we, as other humans, did not. The location in the image is Ayers Rock, also known as Uluru, which, like other recognized and sacred places for indigenous people, holds significant importance. Indigenous myths explain the creation of each part of this rock. Climbing this rock was banned by the government in 2019 due to the disturbance caused by tourists. Meeting and seeing indigenous people, one of the most interesting populations globally, is not easy. It requires permission to enter their residential areas, and only a few indigenous people live outside their designated regions. Also, some indigenous people live in deserts. I'll give you a little warning. When traveling by train through small urban stations, you may see indigenous people sitting in the lower part of the train tracks, directly confronting cameras, trains, and the dust that rises. In some areas, signs are installed warning tourists not to look or stop in those places. Indigenous people throw stones towards the vehicles of those who do not pay attention to these warnings. Today, the indigenous population numbers around 300 to 400,000. Until 1967, indigenous people were marginalized and subjected to significant harassment and abuse. Therefore, there is a high rate of crime among urban indigenous populations as they are seeking some form of retribution for their past marginalization. In reality, indigenous people were unable to achieve their full human rights until 1999. The people of the world are learning a lot every day from indigenous people who are not yet fully recognized. Thank you very much for being with us until the end of this video. If you enjoy these type of content, please like, share with your friends, and be sure to write your comments down there.